Welcome to the June episode of the Redden District Angling Association Fisheries video feedback. We'll have all our usual features this month and a couple of new ones besides. So let's get straight into it with the fishery report from our fishery officer, Dale Shackelford. So Dale, June the 16th, busy time of year. What's been happening?
Busiest time of our year really. Everything grows at the drop of an hat, especially where we're getting the showers. So down came rain, up comes the grass. All the rivers have been cut, ready for the start of the season. And now it's just a case of trying to keep on top of it. Some venues grow quicker than others. Others, if we get a lot of footfall, we don't need to pay it a lot of attention. So it's just sucking it at sea now and just working around it all.
And a vote of thanks to one of our bailiffs, Eddie, because you did your back and Jim had a lot of work to do and you got Eddie to step in.
Eddie stepped in and, all credit to Eddie. Eddie's one of the nicest guys you'd ever wish to meet. And I think it was quite comical because everybody looks at us and says, oh, cut grass, how hard can that be? And I think he probably thought that the first day. Second day, he was changing his mind. Third day, he was absolutely knackered. So,
you can see that from the pictures we got of him and Jim at work. They did a great job.
Yeah, done a absolutely great job. And as I said this time last year, if you're booking a holiday, book it the 2 weeks before the opening season because it is guaranteed to be the hottest time.
Well, absolutely. And of course, other work to Fisheries has been going on. I see the bund that you're putting in at Moatlands is coming on. I took a few pictures when I was down there the other day. What's the final plan for that?
Yeah, well, what we're trying to do, it's no secret we have problems at Moatlands, always have done, historical problems with kids swimming and people generally partying around there. It's the same as what we used to do when we were kids, to be fair. Mm-hmm. But what we're doing is trying to make it a little bit more private and trying to sort of show a distinct line. Look, this is private property, that isn't. You ain't allowed past there. It's going to help our bailiffs when we're kicking people off. And it's just going to add to a sense of security for our members there. So there's going to be a bund going along the front edge. We can't do a lot on the river side, but we'll look at that, if we need to. But we'll have a bund there, bit of grass, little bit of a fence, some more signage, little piece of a car park, and just formalise it a little bit.
And it'll be a lockable car park?
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Right, I mean, that's great, and I think that'll give people a lot of confidence. And as we'll see in the fish pictures a bit later on, I mean, it's cracking tench coming out of Moatlands.
It's well worth a go. And, it really isn't that bad. No. I mean, you see some of the stuff that goes up on Facebook, and, there's a gang of kids there, Oh, come on, They're not doing anything that we didn't do when we were kids.
Absolutely. Well, I think the last thing really to touch on is the hatchery. Last time I spoke to you, you were putting in for planning consent. Where's that got to and what's the timetable now? Yeah,
right. Now we're at the stage now where we've had a very, very supportive outcome of the pre-planning proposal. I actually think that the planning officer might be a fisherman because he was absolutely gushing.
Don't say that publicly.
Oh, no. And all credit to him. And, they were gushing. They liked the idea. The supporting evidence and the letters and everything else that we went in were received really well. And, undoubtedly they've helped out. We're now going to go for full planning permission. That should be around about September time, fingers crossed. Once we've got the full planning permission, it'll be all systems go, get the building up, get it kitted out, and hopefully we will have water in the system by around about January, February, and we'll be looking to start sort of production, if you like, come March time.
That's very exciting.
This time next year, we'll have introduced a lot of fish into the kennet.
And just one point really for members' benefit, when the formal planning application goes in September, obviously we'll be asking members to add their comments to the application, and the more letters and emails of support we can get, the better.
Yeah, that's right. We never know who's going to come out of the woodwork and object, and there will be, there always is, there's always somebody that's going to go, oh, hang on a minute, so the more letters and comments we get on the planning application supporting our application, the better. So, in due course, we will put that out.
That's really good news. Good to see all that happening. Dale, you came up, in fact, I think you came up over the weekend with a rather good idea for a new feature. Do you want to explain what this is?
Yeah, one of them sort of moments where I'm sort of like, can't sleep and all that sort of stuff. And the whole idea of this was to interact with our membership and sort of start conveying what we're doing out there to people. And it sort of struck me that we could do with some questions. I'm not afraid of sort of, difficult questions. If they're difficult, try and keep them light-hearted. But, if we've got some difficult questions and someone wants to get their view across, then, I'd like to see people, and we can answer them on here now,
I think it's a great idea. So, what we've decided to do is to say to people, every month we're going to select 2 or 3 questions. We won't select necessarily the easiest ones. Send in, with a picture if you like, your question to info@rdaa.co.uk. We'll select ones which we think are topical and of interest to the maximum number of people, and we'll answer them, not so much live, this is a monthly video, but we'll answer them publicly on our feedback video and make it, as Del says, a little bit more interactive. So let's give it a go.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like I say, I'm not scared of difficult questions. And there are decisions and things that we do that on the face of it seem nonsense, but there is a story. We don't do things just because we can or want to. We do things for a reason, and it'll be a good way of getting that reason and the background for some of our decisions across. So ask away.
Yeah, great. Well, that was a right mixed bag of fish, as you'd expect in the month of June, because halfway through the month the river season opened.
Yeah,
but
well, you got a crossover, haven't you? That's,
of course, yeah. And in some ways, the fish were a bit late spawning this year. We're not seeing the rivers in prime form at the moment. It's still quite low and stale, but there were some great fish coming out of a lot of the venues. The first one I really wanted to highlight, actually, we don't often do this. It's not from a Redden District venue. It's very close, but it was that £4, 8-ounce perch that young Ben Lovell caught. What a fish, and what an angler that young man's turning into.
He's the envy of a lot of people that have been doing 3-4 times his age.
Absolutely.
He really is something special, that lad. And unfortunately, his dad is still lagging behind.
I know, he's showing his dad the way. The other father and son episode I'd like to pick out was the Nunn family, Dave Nunn and Michael Nunn. They targeted moatlands, which we were talking about earlier, and Dave's had tench up to 8.5 over 2 or 3 days, and his father's come up with an absolute stonker of a specimen there, £10, 12-ounce tench from moatlands. That is a hell of a fish, mate.
Yeah, in anyone's book, a £10 tench, regardless of where it's from, is incredible. And again, the whole story, father and son going fishing, da-di-da-di, and everyone sort of thinks as father being older and the young son, if you like, going fishing. But seeing adults, father and sons going fishing, it's just a nice story. And what a fish.
Well, absolutely, and justifies the investment we're putting into Maitlands, because we do want more people fishing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I liked, there weren't that many barbel came out. I saw Shane Page, as usual, has had fish, but Charlie Jolly got a nice double figure barbel on opening day. I mean, fair play to him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this time of the year, everyone gets a little bit excited with the river fishing this time of the year, but you've got to remember, we've had some of the hottest weeks of the year so far. The fish are spawning. The last thing they're going to be wanting to do is go out and actually start feeding.
And the levels are low as well.
The levels are low, and myself personally, I wouldn't even look at the river until sort of mid-July, even towards the end of July. And I know there's a lot of people out there for that reason. The fish have been left alone for 3 months. They're spawning. They're in different parts of the river. It's difficult fishing at this time of the year, and to see one come out of on the opening night like that, I mean, wow, fantastic. And as far as Shane goes, I'm sure he takes the fish with him.
No, Shane will always catch barbel. A couple of others really to highlight. Weird capture, this one. Unfortunately, I don't know the young man's name, but it's Chris Landek's boy. I will call him Master Landek, but his first fish from Pinchwood. Pinchwood is not an easy venue. He caught a 9-pound tench on the float.
Yeah, well, I actually know people that target Pinchwood for the tench, and they'd be proud of that. So, fair play, hats off. And, a lot of people say, that's a lucky capture, da-di-da-di-da. You've got to be there to catch it.
Got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
And lastly, certainly not almost lastly actually, certainly not the biggest fish, but Matthew Tuthill, lovely story behind this picture. He had his gear stolen, I think, from his home, and this is him catching a carp, callows, after his gear was replaced. But the lovely thing was, and all credit to Redland District members, the reaction on their Facebook page, the numbers of people that came in and offered him to replace his gear, give him spare gear.
Yeah,
it's exactly what this club's supposed to be about.
That's it. It's far too easy in life to just think of the negatives all the time. But the positives always outweigh the negatives, and it's just so nice to be. I wouldn't say I'm in charge of the club or not, but be a part of a club that has got a membership. We're only as good as our members. Simple as that, and our members are proving time and time again, they're decent people, and yeah, it was quite humbling to actually see, all the guys go out there and say, come round, I've got this, I've got that, and that's what fishing's about.
No, we were delighted to see it, and we hope Matthew's not been put off by that incident, and we'll carry on catching bigger and better fish.
It doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't. And lastly, we picked this one out, Del, because it's this lovely rudd that Rob Richbell caught from Cottage Lane. Now, we've got rudd in a lot of our waters, but very few people target them, do they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the rudd, I don't think we've got a lake that hasn't got rudd in. But generally, you only ever see the smaller ones. And, sometimes they can be a bit of a pain, particularly if you're fishing for tench or maggot or something like that. But to actually target them, there's some crackers in there, and I think all of our lakes have the potential to do £1+ rudd. And it would be nice to see a few more. So, if you're thinking of something to do, get out and see if you can catch yourself a £1+ rudd from one of our venues, because they're certainly in there.
Fantastic. Well, it's been an interesting month, and congratulations to all the finalists, and up to you now, Dale, to select the winner for this month's cap and bait prize.
Well, again, this isn't about big fish, etc., and we always say it's about a story, it's about the photo, etc., and for me, it's the father and son, the Nunn family. Just the perfect day's fishing, really, the perfect day. What we're going to do, we couldn't decide because obviously there's two of you, and I know I still owe a cap for the grayling, which is close to my heart.
Oh, the one Dave caught a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So what we decided, we'll send out 2 caps. It will only be one sort of package from Rod Hutchinson Bait and Tackle. So you'll have a bun fight over that. But 2 caps. Let me know what you want, whether you want the carp stuff or the coarse stuff, via messenger or email or whichever, and we'll make sure it's in the hut for you to come along and pick it up.
So congratulations, Michael Nunn, congratulations, David Nunn. Wear your caps for prize and keep catching big fish. Right, well, it's time for Fishing Prospects with our Deputy Fisheries Officer, Jim Stansfield. Jim, your recommendations for the coming month?
So for the moment, I think if you're out on the lakes at the minute, the tench are definitely still on the feed at the minute. There's been plenty showing around all our gravel pits, and they're starting to get really close into the margins now. So if you fancy a couple of hours float fishing, definitely worth a go on a few of the pits for our tench.
And would you recommend targeting them in the evenings on the float? I mean, I know normally early on in the year it's early morning job, but would you recommend?
Yeah, sort of late afternoon. If you've got a couple of hours after work, it's definitely worth a go. You never know, you've got to be out there to catch them, so give it a try.
And what about the rivers?
The rivers at the minute, it's been pretty slow at the moment because obviously a lot of the fish are still spawning. It's been a bit later on this year, and with this real hot weather we've had, I'd say if you're out on the rivers at the minute, you want to be trying to find the fast oxygenated water at the moment, so things like your weir pools and things like that. But the barbel, they're going to just take a couple of weeks to recover after they're spawning and that, and then they should be well on it. And hopefully we've got a bit of rain due, so that should help massively.
And of course the other river fish that's been showing, and you and I went out, we were asked to help out with the Paul Whitehouse and Bob Mortimer programme, Gone Fishing, and so we were trying to show them the way to catch some of those big Thames perch. I mean, we had a couple ourselves, didn't we? But those perch look in fabulous condition at the moment,
very good condition, yeah. I think they're well up for it at the moment. So definitely, again, you don't want to be sort of spending too long in an area because, as we found out, it's pretty instant. If you're on them, you're going to catch them pretty quickly. So again, have a rod and start roving about, and it gets you around the river venue. So.
And I mean, you know, if people haven't caught £3 perch, there are plenty of them in the Thames, and bigger than that as well, as George Lovell has shown. And of course, the Kennet perch have already started to show, and they'll only get stronger as the season goes on, won't they?
Yeah, stronger and bigger, that's for sure.
Well, that's great advice from Jim as ever. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Well, I hope you found that interesting. Certainly the fish are feeding on an awful lot of our venues, both on the rivers and on the lakes. So have a great time out there, and please put those questions in. We really want to make these videos a bit more interactive, so it'd be great to hear from you. Have a great time. Tight lines.